the sweet life, rolling in sunshine, rocking the good time with all our friends. Easy and carefree, out in the summer breeze, loving a simple things for hours on end. Right about sundown, we lay on the ground, count on the stars as they come out one at a time. Ain't this a sweet life?
Hey everybody, I'm X Factor winner Tate Stevens, and welcome to the Sweet Life Podcast, where we talk about everything from music, sports, food, entertainment, and, well, just living the sweet life. Hey everybody, it's me, Tate Stevens, along, as always, Mr. AJ Crunk.
Yeah, man.
Okay, today, good gigs, bad gigs. And now this doesn't have to mean 100% musical, okay? Mm-hmm. Could be jobs. I mean, you know, I call my job or whatever a gig, Mm-hmm. So it can be a job or musical job. Okay. So kind of keep that in your head while you're thinking about this stuff. So I think there's a lot of people can kind of relate to having a bad job.
Yeah.
Yeah. And good gigs, bad gigs, man. Let's start. I'll start off good gigs. I probably the best gig, and this is a musical gig.
Mm-hmm.
Tops everything I could have ever done.
Okay.
And it was play on the Grand Ole Opry.
Oh, I'll bet.
Yeah, that was the coolest thing. That was the best gig. That was, it was one of those times, man, where it was so surreal just to be in there.
Sure.
Not just to see the show. It's awesome. You're at the Grand Ole Opry, but to be in there, be backstage, where all the artists and stuff are, and you're in a dressing room, and you know what I mean, and and then when the first time you step into the circle, is what they call step into the circle. Mm-hmm. So you get the dressing room. You're always in the same dressing room when you're first time, and you go in and you get your playbills and you get things, and it's like a cool little welcoming thing.
Yeah.
And it's one of those moments in my life that I dreamed of as a little kid, and listening and watching the Opry with my folks, and it's like just to be on the show where all your heroes, you know what I mean, like the people that you've looked up to forever and ever and ever.
Of course,
everybody's got to stand in that circle.
It's hallowed ground.
It's weird, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, it is, and so very best thing. Trump's winning the X Factor. Trump's winning all that does. It trumps everything. Is just to be able to play on that stage. It was, man, it was cool. It was really cool. And it sucks because I don't remember. Like I didn't remember it. Like, it was one of those things. Like, what did I say? Did I do?
Can I go out again?
Can we do that again? That's just a practice run, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And my wife was like, because I had brought my mom and dad to Nashville for that show, and my wife and kids were there because I'm like, this is the biggest thing in my life. This is the biggest achievement of my life. So I wanted them there, and they were off to the side down here sitting in the audience, and I just, my wife's like, Tater, your face, you walked out, and she was like, you just never stopped smiling.
Yeah.
The whole time. You're just like cheesing the whole time. And I was like, I don't remember it. I don't remember. The weird thing was I was staring at that circle.
Oh yeah.
Walking out, I was like, just focused on it, because I knew if I couldn't, because I looked out and you can't really see, it's dark and the flashes or stuff are going off and people are clapping. But I know I had to stand right there, and you know what I mean? And when I stepped into the circle, it was just like, and then I couldn't feel my feet. Like, you know what I mean? It was one of those times I was almost like I was watching myself, an out of body experience kind of thing. Just because of the history of country music and the history of the music that I love and that I respect so much, and the people who did it before me, who made it possible for me to do it and gave me the ideas and that I wanted to do it, or you know what I mean, that influenced me. Oh my gosh, Charlie Pride was there. I mean, it was just like, it was so amazing. And I got to meet all these people. And so I went out and I sang my 2 songs. And when my 2 songs were over, I walked off, and I'm just like, what happened? Like literally, I don't remember what I said. I don't.
But you got it on video, right?
I think so. I don't know.
It's got to be out there on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm sure
somewhere.
Maybe I don't know. But anyway, so my very first time playing the Opry, man, it was just one of those weird, surreal moments that trump anything I've ever done in the music business, and probably will forever trump everything or anything that I get to do in the music business. The next step for me is to be a member of the Grand Ole Opry. Then I would be like, okay.
Next to this podcast anyway, right?
Yeah, next to that. I mean, this is pretty cool. Yeah. We're pretty cool what we do. But yeah, so that's probably my all-time best gig. Okay. All-time good gig. That was it, man, the Opry. Every time I played it, it was weird. Every time. I did the same thing every time. I'm just like, freaking out. And then, I don't know. It was weird. So.
Yeah, man.
All right, best gig for you. What do you think? What do you got, dude? Best gig?
It's nothing near the Grand Ole Opry.
Right.
But no, I don't know. Since we thought to do this, 3 seconds before we started recording?
Yeah.
So, haven't had a whole lot of time to recollect. But probably some of the best shows I've played here, maybe the ones I did at Power and Light.
Yeah.
Some of the, because, being in a bar band like I am, you got your small PA, got but you get out there, it's full system, and it just, everything's big. It's like next level type of a sound and everything. And, everybody always comes up to you just like, man, you guys sound awesome out here. And it's just like, yeah, I know. We're going to be at Jimbo's Bar and Grill next weekend.
You come see us.
Or maybe use one sub and one main in that place, and but you know what I mean. It's probably that gig.
Yeah,
just because of the production level and stuff.
Yeah, it's a good one. That's a fun gig though. Yeah. Power Light's fun. Mm-hmm. It's a good gig. The Clay Walker show we did.
Yes,
was a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. Great crowd. Great. It worked. You know what I mean. Everything worked. So that's a good one. Another one of, I think, second best gig for me was the Midland show. Yep. The Midland shows, plural, and then Starlight, the Yallapalooza that we headlined. I would put those second, was because the one was my homecoming after the show, after the X Factor, which made it special.
Sure.
So you're never famous in your hometown. Like that's kind of a thing. You never make it big in your hometown. But it sure in hell felt like it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That night, it felt weirdly cool.
Yeah.
And I was, Michelle, my day-to-day at our management company.
Uh-huh.
She said, you sold the first show out in 30 minutes. And I'm like, yeah, I did. You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, because I'm Garth Brooks. You know what I mean? Right? That's not really, but I was like, oh my, are you serious? They sold out in 30 minutes. She was like, yeah. And so she said, we opened another show and it sold out within an hour.
Wow.
I'm like, oh my God, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That was crazy. So, and then again, so we go that summer to Starlight Amphitheater. Mm-hmm. Beautiful amphitheater.
Sure.
And did Yallapalooza, headlined that, and had there were some big artists on there. And like Cole Swindell was on it, Chase Rice was on it, Aaron Lewis was on it. Again, because it was at home.
Sure.
And it made us feel like rock stars, It was one of those things. And so those.
Of course, the name Yallapalooza doesn't ever hurt.
Right. Yeah. And that's where, when I was on the show, they asked me what I would do with $5 million, because you don't get $5 million, but you know what I mean? They were like, so what are you going to do with your $5 million? And I was like, I'm going to have a big ass party and everybody's invited. So that was our big ass party.
Yeah.
Yallapalooza was.
Yeah.
So it was fun, man. Hanging out all day,
Sure.
They had the Johnsonville people there. I was cooking brats and I was throwing hot dogs and stuff at people. It was fun. It was a good time. It was good. It was good. It was good times, man.
And I'd say also, mentioning Power and Light a while ago, the one I played out there with you was pretty fun.
Yeah, the Clay Walker one.
Yeah, no. The one that we did what was it? I guess Hot Country Nights.
Oh, Hot Country Nights.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a good time.
That was a fun show.
That was a
fun show.
Yeah, that was good. And it worked that night, because it was a COVID show, so they had the picnic tables set up for people, so they could social distance.
Nobody cared.
No one cared. It was good. It was good times. But so you. Yeah, those are a lot of fun. I hope to keep doing those. In the future. I don't know.
Now, worst gig?
Yeah, we'll go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say one of my worst shows was my last solo acoustic gig I played up north, and it was like I got done with the song, hit the last chord. You get nothing.
Yeah,
and I'd be like, okay, they're not into that stuff. Let me switch gears and do some of this and do a different like genre or something. Nothing. Whenever I know like I kind of got like I need to get them back, I'll do I'll Always Love You by Whitney Houston.
Yeah.
I'll do that one because I know that always like people like turn around, what's he doing? And at the end do the big modulation and just hollering, high notes, and people are just like, oh, okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Nothing. Silence. I said, this is the last acoustic show I will ever play. I'm never play. So I called the guy that books the shows. I texted him as soon as I left. I was like, cancel all the rest of my dates. I'm just done.
Yeah.
Solo acoustic shows, I'm done.
Yeah, it's tough. That's a tough gig.
Yeah.
I don't like doing like I wouldn't. If I got to play a couple songs by myself, that's okay. But if I got to sit there for a couple hours and no way. No.
Yeah.
Here's why. And I'll say it about all acoustic music. I don't care who you are. I don't care how good a guitar player you are or how good a singer you are. After about 45 minutes of one guy playing a guitar and singing, you're kind of done.
Oh yeah.
You're just like, okay. Yeah. And it doesn't, Chris Stapleton, I would still be the same way. I'm like, man, it's good and you're great, but I've heard that song already, right?
Yeah.
Or no? Yes, maybe. I don't know. So I get it. I love doing acoustic stuff. And the reason why is because you can't hide anything.
All right.
You're just there doing it.
Yep.
And if it's bad, it's bad.
And generally with acoustic shows, man, it's more interactive. You can get done with the song and be like, hey, what do you want to hear? Right? It's table 5 over here. Quick, give me a song, and just
absolutely.
do something.
And it's fun. And it's kind of intimate in those settings. Yeah. I've had full band shows where they could have cared less who was up there playing music. We were just background noise. Minnesota. I was in Minnesota. This is years ago. Dixie Cadillac Band. We get to this little bar. It's like a sports bar. So right off the bat, we know we're in trouble, right? And back then we had these big old speaker boxes. It looked loud.
Yeah.
And they could be loud when we turned it up, but so we get there and the manager's like, we're sound checking.
Yeah.
And we knew the place is about as big as an Applebee's or a little bit bigger. No, we're sound checking. Like we've just started drums, doom, 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 doom.
Yeah.
Out front, like, okay, rack 1, rack 2, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we're doing that. We're sound checking. The manager comes up and is like, wow, that is loud. And he was like, man, look how big those speakers are. You guys are going to be way too loud. I can already tell.
I can already tell.
Yeah. And Dennis is like, well, we're barely going to have them on because we know that this is a smaller venue. So yeah, it'll be fine. We won't be too loud, I promise. The guy's like, yeah, I don't know about that, man. He was freaked out just because it looked loud. That's what he said. Well, it just looks loud. So I think you're going to scare people. So we get done sound checking and there's no one in there. So it's going to be a little louder with no one in there, but not, we weren't literally we had wedges then. We didn't have ear monitors, so we had wedges.
Yeah.
I'm like, let's just turn the mains off and use our monitor wedges. So we turned the mains off and we're in a corner and there was a railing in front of the stage.
Okay.
Because I think they would move tables from up there to make the stage. Mm-hmm. Anyway, we play our first set And Dennis goes up to the guy. He's like, so we too loud? He's like, yeah, and we had to be there for like 4 days. It was like a 4-day gig. Yeah, dude. And so this was a bad gig. This is one of my bad gigs. So the next night, again, he comes up. Now there's more people in there. And he was like, man, this is about right. Still, we don't have the mains on. It was Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We played Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So Saturday night, he was like, we'll have he goes, you guys are really good. You know, people really like you. Yeah. So we're going to have a big turnout Saturday. Tomorrow night will be a big turnout. You know, everybody comes out, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, all right, cool, whatever.
Yeah.
I said, Dennis, halfway through the show, just start turning the mains on. Halfway through the set. First set, just turn them on. So first set, we had the mains. Just cracked. No one said anything.
Yeah.
Same amount of people that was there the first night early on. No one said anything. Yeah. It wasn't too loud. Second set, we turned it up a little bit. Third set, more people. It's packed. We're going pretty good. No one said anything. You know, and I'm like, all right, well, just leave it, let it buck, man. And we did. Everybody was great. Bad gigs, another bad gig. The one I just showed you with Ricochet.
Oh, okay.
That was a bad gig.
Really?
They were the headliners. We opened.
Where was this?
This is in Oklahoma. So we go up there, and it was like, I don't know. It was big. It was an outdoor venue, like an outdoor amphitheater with no seats, all lawn, right?
Yeah.
So it would be like the Kearney Amphitheater.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Kearney Amphitheater, but bigger. We get there, and super nice people, great people. Mm-hmm. They just didn't know. They loved music, and they wanted to be a part of something. So their son played music, I think, is what I was told. I think their son was in a band, so they wanted a venue that their son could just play his music. So you build this giant amphitheater? It's like a giant shed, man.
Yeah,
for real. Just like it looked like Kearney Amphitheater. It was,
yeah.
I mean, it was about that size.
Okay.
Well, they got in touch with an agent friend of mine, so she called me and said, "Hey, I got this show, and we want you on it. It'll be you and Ricochet." And I'm like, "Okay, absolutely. Yeah. Where's it at? Oklahoma. It's 4.5 hours away from home."
Okay.
I'm like, "Okay, I'm in. You know, what's it pay? How long am I playing?" You're like, "You're going to do an hour, and it's for a military benefit thing." And I'm like, "Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm in. Military benefits. I'm in. Whatever." Yep. It's like on a Saturday night. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's a good deal.
Sure.
Good gig. So we get there, we set up, nothing, the sound is nothing like what it should be for a national act like Ricochet.
Couple Mackie thumps.
Yeah, like it was weird. It was like a guy had some old speakers in his garage and they stacked them up on each side, you know, and like the mixing console, I mean, everything was just weird and janky. And so I took a sound guy. I took Matt Russo with me. Okay. And to run sound for us. So I was like, all right, Matt, you know, you go down and blah, blah, blah. So Matt he's just staring. I don't know what to do.
Wow.
So Rob, he was playing drums. So he jumps down and he runs out front while we're sound checking, and he's talking to Matt, and he's like, what's going on? And they're like looking at this console. And the guy who brought it, like the sound company, was like, yeah, I wasn't aware that this was like a big show. I didn't know that. I was just told it was like a band, just one band, and they had like a 5-piece band is all I was told. Oh, and so they were trying to figure it out. Well, we get our side working. Now, when we start, they were like, you guys are going to go on you're going to play from 7:30 to 8:30. Ricochet's going on at 9. 7:15 rolls around. I am looking at this giant open field with 15 people in it.
Ugh. Been there.
Now, there's vendors. They got all kinds of food vendors and little amusement rides and different little things kind of set up around the outside, sort of like we're like in the midway area, and they're kind of setting up around us. I'm like, man, it's 7:15. Are the gates open? And they were like, oh, yeah. any minute now, people are going to flood in. That's what they kept saying. Any minute now. And I'm like, okay, we're the opening act. No one's going to get here until almost 9 o'clock anyway. They're going to catch the last half of our show. No big deal, right? I get it. 7:30 rolls around. So I get up. We do our thing halfway through. And now I would say there's 300 or 400 people. And I'm like, okay, this is kind of making more sense. Like we're getting more people.
Yeah.
We end our show with like 300 people. So I'm like, there's 30 minutes before Ricochet starts.
Yeah.
Surely they're going to be ready to come in, right? Surely they're going to come in. No, nothing. And so Ricochet, they come on stage and they get, well, you know, of course they're the national act, so they get half their money up front before they ever get there. Then when they get there, their road manager goes in and gets the other half of the money before they ever play.
Yeah.
I'm just a artist who's, you know, out there playing.
Yeah.
So we get paid after the show. My agent friend who is helping these people, she comes to me and she said, we have a little bit of an issue.
Oh, God.
And I'm like, what's that? She was like, well, they didn't make enough money at the gate to pay you. They paid Ricochet.
Yeah.
You know, because they had to. They were, you know, and they had to get money out of their account. Like they went to their personal account. The people who owned the complex went to their personal account and paid the rest of them.
Wow.
And she was like, yeah, they just don't understand. They didn't know. They couldn't afford to advertise on the radio. They couldn't do this and blah, blah, blah. And I looked right at her and I said, listen, this is not my problem.
Right.
And I won't leave here until I've been paid.
Oh, man.
I have to pay these guys. You know, these guys drove. We drove.
From Kansas City to Oklahoma.
From Kansas City to Oklahoma. We're 4.5 hours away from home, which isn't, you know, it's a tank and a half of gas.
Sure.
You know, I said, but that the point is, you know, I drove and another person drove to get us here. You know, I'm paying for the fuel in their car.
Yeah.
And in my car. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm paying these guys a show pay of X amount of dollars.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, that's what we get when we do things like this. So I can't go back to them and go, oh, by the way, because they didn't promote the show correctly, you don't get paid. Can't do it. Right. So they went to some of the vendors and were like, look, we can't pay you. I had ones, fives, tens. I had some change. No, I'm not even kidding.
I bet.
They handed me a money bag. The lady handed me a bank bag. She was like, here, it's everything we had. I don't know what it is. I don't know how much is in there, but that's it. We have no more money. And I'm like,
how dare you want to get paid?
I said, well, if it's not what I have on the contract, then we'll figure it out in court. Because I'm not gonna get stiffed on this. This is bad.
Yeah.
This is bad on you. Not me, on you. Anyway, so
I bet she voted for Carly Rose Santa Clara.
She did. No. And actually they're good people. They are, but she was just upset. So anyway, I counted it. It was like $300 short. Which was fine because that extra money I was just going to put in the account anyway for the next gig that we needed more, like another fuel bill or something like that.
Sure.
I was kept a little bit out. And anyway, so it worked out. So that was a bad gig, though. That was one of those gigs that was just like, oh, my God.
Wow.
I even have a worse gig than that.
Oh, God.
No, it's bad. You have another one?
Do I have another one?
Yeah, you have another one.
Oh, God.
Good or bad? Good or bad?
You think of a good one, I'll try to think of a bad one.
I have a good one.
I know there's a bunch of them out there, but...
I have a good one. Boots and Hearts Festival in Canada. A good one. A great one. Biggest crowd I've ever played for. 50,000 people. It was ridiculous. I walked out and they had a big ego ramp that went way out.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were there with Miranda Lambert and Dierks Bentley.
Okay.
So, yeah, it was huge. And anyway, we're playing, and I mean, literally, there's like, it had to be 35, 40,000 people there.
Okay.
And
that's a good little crowd.
Yeah, dude, it was awesome. I mean, as far as I could see, there's people.
Yeah.
And it's outdoors, you know, it was awesome. So I going out to the middle of the ego ramp, right? And I'm like, I look back and I'm like, oh, I got to sing. I'm running back to the mic stand because I was playing. I was out there playing, and
halfway back, and you get all winded.
Oh yeah, yeah. No,
take a knee.
Yeah. I'm calling somebody else in. Relief. So that was an awesome event, just because of the sheer mass of people.
Yeah.
And they loved it. They loved country music, and it was awesome. What a great time. And then of course Miranda did great, and Dirks did great,
Yeah.
But
yeah, I got to see, I think it was here I guess it was at Sprint Center. Mm-hmm. I won tickets to see Miranda Lambert there, and I mean, just killed it.
Oh yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
She's really good live.
Yeah, she is. And so that was a lot of fun. That was probably that's one of those good gigs, man. Just because it was so many people.
Yeah,
and they were so loud. Then Miranda came out and it was awesome. We got to go out. We went out front for Miranda, and we're watching, and she had her little bar set up backstage that she does. She takes on the road, and they let us in. They were like, "Oh, come on in," So it was fun. We got to hang out with them and all that. But yeah, that was one of the good gigs that I was like, wow, pretty awesome.
Yeah,
pretty awesome.
Okay, one more. I'll do one good one and one bad one. And this wasn't even really my gig.
All right.
But back when I was playing with old Double D, Drew Davis.
Oh, yeah. The old Drews.
Yeah. Rascal Flatts and Darius Rucker came into town at Sprint Center.
Yeah.
So Drew got us backstage there, and we were hanging out backstage, and Darius's guitar player was like showing me his rig, his amps and stuff, and then he took me out behind the stage to show me like I guess Joe Don's guitar rig from Rascal Flatts.
Yeah.
Dude, just this insane guitar setup. And I remember I had all access pass, so I was just going all the way around that place, like thinking, nobody say anything to me. I'll just go back here and see what's going on. And I sit there behind his guitar tech and was just watching, and he turned around and looked at me, and I was like, hey.
How's it going?
And I'm just sitting there looking. I'm like, man, this is just wild, because I'm used to just one guitar. This guy had 4 cabinets over here, each just freaking pumping loud, and it's pretty crazy. But and actually this wasn't really a gig, this was a rehearsal. For all those listeners, I'm holding up my 2 fingers on each hand, quotation, rehearsal. I used to answer back before I met you, and I used to answer these, whatever, was it KCmusician.com or whatever the Craigslist was before Craigslist was a thing. Yeah. And musicians used to post on there, so-and-so needs a guitar player, so-and-so needs a bass player, drummer, whatever. And so I answered one from a band here in Kansas City, and it was like a metal band. And they're like, we need a bass player. And I was like, I just want to play music. I can't find anybody to play music with.
Right.
And I was like, everybody here in town that I played music with is just like, we never made it out of the basement.
Right.
We all knew like 6 or 7 songs, and, so I was like, okay, I don't care. I'll go up and do that. So I go up there, and these guys, it's like, I don't even know how to explain it. Their lead singer was singing. It's like what he was singing. It's like it would be perfectly in tune if we were playing 2 keys up. He was singing like it was just the weirdest thing. I'm thinking it's almost like he's singing a harmony, but there's no lead singer. And that's what it sounded like to me. And then they started fighting with each other and stuff. And I had only seen these guys for, an hour or something, and I'm just sitting there like, one guy, he's like, the guitar player pulls a cassette out of the cassette player and like throws it at the singer, who's like, learn the effing song and blah, blah, blah. And I'm sitting there like, oh my God.
Wow.
So like they both leave the room. I start like kind of unhooking my cables. It's like, I'm the only one in here, so I'm going to get my stuff and I'm going to go.
Yeah.
Because this is not for me.
Yeah. That would be terrible.
Yeah, it was awful. That was probably...
You remember the name of the band?
I don't know if I should say it on here. Liquefy was the name of the band.
Oh, well. Yeah, Liquefy.
It was like a hard rock metal band.
Yeah, I'm sure they don't listen to our podcast.
I'm sure they don't, but Somebody's gonna know a guy.
Oh, I know that guy.
But yeah, it was just the oddest thing. Guy like
weird.
pulled a cassette, like I guess their work tape or something,
Yeah.
and like threw the cassette
Learn
tape
the
at the other guy, and
song.
like told him to learn the song. And I'm just like, whoa, this is not how people should interact with each other. And
Especially when you're in a band.
yeah, right.
So I'll give you a couple more good
Yeah.
gigs and then a bad gig too.
Okay.
The Alan Jackson shows that we got to do with Alan Jackson were amazing.
Okay.
Just because it was Alan Jackson.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
When you're opening for a icon, a legend like that, it's just different. It's different.
Yeah.
I mean, catering's different.
Sure.
Bus placement's different.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is different. Everything's the next level.
Without a doubt.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he was so nice, super nice guy. And I sat on his bus for a while and just talked. And that was the second night. The second night, George Jones had passed that day.
Oh.
Yeah, and he and George were really good friends.
Sure. Yeah.
He was really upset.
Sure.
Really upset. And he started his show. Stage is black.
Yep.
Alan's standing there with a spotlight on him. Just him. He said, I love you till I down. The band comes in. The band's very lightly lit.
Mm-hmm.
Barely see him. On all the screens, it's George Jones. It's George and Alan's pictures together. It's videos of them doing things together. Dude, it was bad. It was cool. It was great. It was a really neat little tribute that he did.
Sure.
They played like 2 or 3 George Jones songs right then, right at the beginning of the show. That's how he started the show. But it went from a black stage, no nothing to one light on him, and he said, "I love you till I die."
Yeah.
The band came in, and
Gut wrenching.
yeah, and we were like, oh. But doing that run with Alan was amazing. And like I said, from catering to, it was just next level.
Sure.
It was cool. It was really cool. And they were all great people. Like his whole crew and band, they were great. They were great guys. And,
Well, someone would tell me Alan Jackson probably wouldn't have much tolerance for jerks running around.
No. Probably zero. Probably less than zero.
Yeah.
Like everybody was
He just seems like a solid dude. That's
but
just
he's also, like he's quiet. He's kind of an introvert. Like when I came on the bus, he's tall, like 6'5" or 6'6" or something like that. Real tall. And so I get on the bus and I'm like, hey, Mr. Jackson, I'm Tate Stevens, and I'm loud, right? I guess I'm a loud person. And because he was kind of like, whoa, like, hey, all right, nice to meet you, buddy. We take a couple pictures, we sit down and we're just talking. And he's just so laid back and cool.
Yeah.
And anyway.
Probably exactly the way you'd think he'd be.
100%. 100%. Slow talking.
Yep.
He's just a slow talker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's quiet. He talks real quiet. He's not real like a loud talker like I am. I talk loud. But that run with Alan was great. And then my little run with Craig Morgan was great. Doing the American
Who is
Story
exactly
Stories.
the opposite of that.
Absolutely. He's loud. Craig is loud. Oh yeah, I can't wait to have him on. But watch him; he'll be on when he comes on. He'll be like, "Yeah, guys." He'll be all quiet and stuff. He won't be his goofy self. But no, doing the run with Craig was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Craig was one of the guys who reached out to me early, right after the X Factor.
Yeah.
I did 2 of his songs on the show. So
I was going to say, I bet he did.
That didn't help or hurt anything.
That didn't help.
That didn't help any, but it didn't help. Yeah, it didn't help him, I'm sure either. But he reached out, like we were at the ACMs in Vegas, and I'm doing radio shows. I'm literally doing this. You walk into the room at the ACMs, and it's just like radio station. Then you go to the next row, radio station, and you just sit down. And they're like, "Hey, Tate Stevens, how you doing? We're on in Philadelphia. This is blah 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 blah. Hey guys, how are you? Nice to see you. Blah blah blah. And it's always the same. How you having fun here at the ACMs? Blah blah blah. You're answering questions at radio stations, right?
Yep.
Making that connection with their DJs and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm going around the room, and there's every artist on the planet in this room.
Yeah.
And everybody has a time. You got to be down there at 9:30 or 10 o'clock. Yeah. And so, Carrie Underwood is walking in. You know what I mean? So it's everybody from nobody to the biggest on the planet, right? so we're sitting there, and about that time, out of nowhere, I'm just sitting there talking, not really paying attention, and Craig comes up and puts me in a chokehold, a rear naked choke. And I'm like, at first I was like, I feel this, like somebody do this, and I'm like, I kind of look up, and it's a bearded dude. He had a beard at that time, so I didn't recognize him. And, I'm like, I just grab him, and I'm like, and I look up, and then he's like, he does this thing. I'm like, oh my God. I'd never met him.
Yeah.
First time I ever met him. And I'm like, hold on real quick. And they were like, go ahead. And then I could hear him going, Craig Morgan just attacked Tate at the table here, blah, 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 and this and that. And they're talking. And I get up and I shake his hand, and I'm in. He's like, go sit down and do your rate. I'm like, no, they're cool. It's so fine. It's okay. You know what I mean? And we talked for a minute. He was like, we'll catch up. So,
man, you missed the boat on that. You guys could have started a Twitter feud. And
it'd been great.
Yeah.
No, but Craig was that guy, and we always stayed in contact. I mean, like we shared contact information that day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he's like, here's my number. Call me, text me, whatever. Let me know what's going on. Let's get together. And Mikey was playing with me.
Yeah.
So Mikey played with Craig.
Yep.
So he was like, we had that connection too with Mike in the band. And, so that helped that relationship kind of move forward and stuff like that. And anyway, so doing the shows with Craig, being on the bus with him every night, it was cool, man, because he's, Craig is Craig. He is what you see is what you get with him. He's nonstop. He gets up early and he goes to bed early. He's kind of an old man, but in that respect, but he gets up like 4:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
For like 4:30, he's up having coffee, whether he's at home or if he's on the bus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he's just, you can smell coffee at 4:30 in the morning, every morning on the bus. And it's like, golly, that's about what time I go to bed on a bus. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just sitting with him and having conversation, not about music, not about the industry, not about any of that, just hunting and fishing and being, people.
Sure.
And he's a big hunter, so we have a lot in common in that way. And it was just a good time. It was a good run.
Well, if you think about it, when you're touring and stuff like that, probably the last thing you want to do is sit there and talk about music.
Yeah. But Craig is one of the best songwriters.
Yeah.
I don't think he gets enough credit for his songwriting. He is so good. And if you ever go to a Craig Morgan show, sometimes, not all shows, but sometimes, I told him, I was like, I can't do that. You can't do that to me anymore. Because he would bring me up on stage.
Yeah.
And I'd sing with him and we'd do something. And then we'd write a song on stage together. I'm like, dude, you can't do that. Because he's like, all right, he literally asked the crowd, give me 3 words. Car, okay, car. Beer, okay, beer. And chocolate, okay, chocolate. And then the band just starts a groove.
Yep.
And he's like, yeah, like a little bit quicker. So they'll be like, whatever. He's like, and he starts singing and he starts writing a song then. And then he'll be like, all right, boy, go. And I'm like, car, chocolate, beer. I'd like beer, chocolate. And
I like beer and chocolate in my beer.
In my car. You know what I mean? I'm like, you can't do that. You can't put me on the spot like that. I'm not that guy. I've done it a few times with him. The first time I did it, for whatever reason, it worked.
Yeah.
And so it really worked out. And it wasn't terrible. It wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible.
Yeah.
And then the second time, I'm like, it's me and him and Aaron Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Aaron Lewis is a great songwriter.
Yeah.
So we're all sitting there and I'm like, and Craig starts, give me 3 words. And I'm like, I looked right at him and he looked at me and he started laughing because he knows. I told him, I was like, I don't do that.
Yeah.
That's not the songwriter I am. I'm not that guy. So, and Aaron Lewis is looking at him like, what are you doing? Like he's kind of looking, he kind of looks over at me and I'm like, dude, just wait. Here we go. And then, so Craig, we get 3 words and so Craig starts, the band and it's an acoustic thing. So we're just kind of play and Craig starts, starts doing his thing. And then I'm like thinking and I'm like, oh, I have it. So I was like, I got it. And I said, blah, 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 and I start going and I do a line or 2 and he's like, oh, that's good. And then Aaron started going. Well, Aaron turns everything into bad lyrics.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? It just goes south immediately, right? And it was fun. And Craig's like, no, you don't go, and so we stopped. It was like, Craig's like, okay, we're done. And Aaron's over there just laughing. He's just dying laughing. That'll teach you for doing that. But those two runs for me were really good because of who they were with, the experience, just having that experience. Getting to play the arena shows and then getting to play the big outdoor venues, and then with Craig getting to break it down and do an acoustic thing.
Yeah,
because it was an acoustic. It's called the American Stories Tour. It was called the American Stories Tour. Great concept. His concept was good. I just don't. There wasn't enough emphasis on the stories part to me as far as in the promotion of the stuff, because people showed up wanting a Craig Morgan concert.
Yeah.
They just thought the American Stories Tour was just the name of the tour.
Yeah.
So he had like an American Stories song. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then when you get in there, it's really intimate.
Yeah.
It's just us sitting in chairs he's drinking some wine, which I don't know why. But anyway, he's got his little glass of wine and, whatever.
Songwriting fuel.
Yeah, absolutely. And he'll have a songwriter.
Yeah.
Which we had Phil Billy out with us at that time, which is, that's that guy. Golly. It's just... he's one of those great ones. And anyway, so we had Phil, Billy, and Craig, and then our soldier that was out with us, our wounded warrior that came out and would tell his stories, and him and Craig would talk about it. And then me, I was the artist that he'd brought out.
Yeah.
And it was fun, because we'd all sing songs and tell and literally tell stories about the songs we wrote. And of course, Phil, Billy, and I had written together, and of course, him and Craig have a bunch of hit records together.
Yeah.
And then, Craig's like, sing one of those hits you have. And so he'd sing, his number one with George Strait, and I'm like,
yeah.
And then he'd sing a number one he had with Blake Shelton. And I'm just sitting there going, what am I doing up here on the stage?
I'm such a fraud.
Yeah. And I'm like, I don't belong. I don't belong here.
One of these things is not like the other.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like,
yeah.
I would just look at him and Craig would sing a hit, and he'd be like, all right, boy, go sing something. And I'm like, yeah, well, I don't know. You got to sing all these hit records. I don't have any of those. I'm like, what do I do? Here's a song you've never heard. Let me play it. It was kind of one of those things. But it worked good. It was fun, and I got to interact with Phil Billy because, we'd written a few songs together. And so we'd do a few of those songs.
Yeah.
I'm like, Phil Billy and I wrote this song together and blah, 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 and things like that. But yeah, it was fun. It was it was a lot of fun, but. I would put those. So
those are good.
Yeah, those are good gigs. Those are really good gigs, and the bad gig, probably the worst gig ever. This would probably be. Is
this a good one to go out on?
This is a good one to go out on.
Okay.
This is a good one to go out on. We leave the United States to go to Germany.
Okay.
To play. Right?
When was this?
Dixie Cadillacs.
Oh, okay. So way back when.
Way back when. So we hop on a plane and we ship our stuff to Germany.
Okay.
To Berlin, right? And especially because we weren't flying first class. We were in coach, man. We were in the back with like 6 people in a row. And I'm like, damn it. You know what I mean? And all you could see was the airplane on the little screen. And it was just like blipping like this. Oh my God, it was terrible. Awful. It was awful. Anyway, so we get to Germany. We meet up with the guy who is producing these shows for us. So we're supposed to play a couple Air Force bases and an Army base. We're supposed to do a couple outdoor festivals, music festivals and stuff like that, right?
Okay.
And then there was like a bar we were going to play. It was a diner. And which actually was the best thing that happened.
Hopefully they weren't intimidated by your speakers.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it was all their stuff, so we don't. But anyway. They take us to our hotel room. We're in Brandenburg, Germany, right? So the guy who brought us over there, literally, he paid for our plane tickets.
Okay.
To get us there and back. So plane tickets were paid for.
Gotcha.
Sven was his name. Okay. Sven, right?
Yeah, sounds about right.
Sounds about right. I don't remember his last name, but Sven. Anyway, we show up, and then he was like, okay, we have the Air Force bases aren't ready. And we're like, okay, well, when are they going to be ready?
Yeah.
Well, we're working on that. So it might be they might be the last thing we do.
Okay.
But they have the Brandenburg Music Festival. Big music festival. Thousands of people. Right? So we're one of the main people he's brought over from America.
Gotcha.
And then there's all kinds of German acts on, people from over there that are playing country music. Well, so we had a couple days, like 2 or 3 days off, where we didn't have anything to do because the Air Force bases fell through, basically. Oh, what's that mean? It just shut off. Did the battery, are they not plugged in?
Should be.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
Whatever. So, the Air Force bases fell through for whatever reason. So we were like, okay, well, now we just brought our guitars. We didn't bring a piano. We didn't bring drums or anything.
Sure.
Because that was all
provided.
It was all going to be provided when we got here. We just had to bring our instruments, our guitars. So then the Army base fell through. He's like, but I have another venue that they want you to play at the mall.
Okay.
Huh? At the mall? Yeah. They're going to set up a stage outside in the parking lot, and they're going to have music out there. And they want you guys to come. And we're like, okay.
I thought you were going to say they want you to sit up right in front of Spencer's Gifts.
Yeah, pretty much. So we get there, and there was a stage. They were, I don't even know if you could call them drums.
Drum.
It was a snare and a ride cymbal.
Oh my God.
And a kick drum. And I think maybe something else. There might have been another thing. Maybe a hi-hat. I don't know, but it wasn't a drum set.
Sure.
The microphones were the ones that you turn on and off.
Oh, good. Those are the best.
Hardwired. They weren't. They didn't even have you couldn't even unplug them.
Yeah.
And there was no PA.
Okay.
They had 2 amplifiers.
Oh, good.
And then a keyboard for Frank that was like a Casio. No, I'm not even. I can't even make this up, dude. Like this thing, and Frank.
This sounds like the best gig ever,
dude. And it's like, I looked at Dennis and I said, Dennis, we're not doing this. All right. He goes, yeah, they're paying us.
Yeah,
we got to do it. I'm like, okay, all right. So we plug in,
this is awesome,
to the speaker.
Yeah,
with the microphones. There was 2 microphones.
Okay.
So Frank's like, he's playing the piano thing.
Yeah.
And it's literally just coming out of the little speakers on the thing. There's no way to plug it in. So we're outside in a parking lot at this mall. And people are walking by looking at us like we're crazy. Like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
Because they're like, walking by. So we just start playing.
Yeah.
And just singing. And it was bad. It was so bad.
Yep.
And so anyway, we get through that. We played for about 15 minutes, and I was like, I just said, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. I want to go home. This is bad. No, I was like, I'm done. I'm done here. Sven, you're a crackhead. Something's wrong with you, dude. Just get me home. Right? Yeah. So now I was upset. So we get back to the hotel. He was like, I'm so sorry. That was supposed to be the right stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, whatever. So the Brandenburg Music Festival was the next, not the next night, but the night after. So 2 days from that.
Okay.
So the guy who owned the diner, I said, dude, can we come play in your diner? We came over here to play music. He said, yeah, there's a sound company guy. I know a guy he's a band. He has a whole thing.
Okay.
And I said, okay, you tell him to bring his stuff. And we're going to set up in your diner because the guy had told him we were paying for rooms.
Oh.
And we're like, no. We have contracts. Here's in the contract. And we showed him the contract. He was like, oh my God. Okay. So it was expensive to call home because we didn't have cell phones.
Yeah.
He had to call long distance from Germany. Well,
yeah.
I'm married, and I'm like, hey, I need to talk to my wife and my kid every day, while I'm there.
Yep.
So they know I'm alive.
Yeah.
And so everybody would call home once a day, and he had like a $500 phone bill.
I bet.
You know, just from us calling home once a day. So anyway, little impromptu gig. It worked. They actually had real stuff.
Okay.
You had a real piano and real stuff and real microphones, and it actually worked, right?
Yeah.
And the diner wasn't very big. It worked out, and it was awesome. And it was packed. I bet there was probably 200 people packed in there like sardines, man. Like it was so tight.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're standing from me to you.
Sure.
Like, and we're playing. It was great. It was a great time.
Yeah.
So then the next day, we had the music festival.
Okay.
Right, that was the big thing. So they had, we were in part of the bill, and we were going to go on like second to last or something. I mean, we were like one of the headliners of this music festival.
Yeah.
Right. Well, Dennis was like, all right, we take a shuttle over there to the thing from to the venue. Well, Sven is just nowhere to be found. Like we don't know where Sven is. He was here earlier, but he's gone right now, and this and that and this and that.
Foreshadowing here.
Yeah. So this is me almost going to prison in Germany. I was so mad. So he comes up and he was like, "Okay, guys, well, I have an issue." And we're like, "What's the issue?" And he was like, "I can't pay you." And I'm like, "What do you mean you can't pay us?" He said, "Well, I paid for your flights
and your phone bill."
And no.
Oh.
He said, "When I paid for your flights, I didn't expect them to be that much. But it cost me like $5,000 to get you guys to and from the United States." And I'm like, "Okay, not my problem."
Yeah.
So what my problem is, I've been here for a week, like 9 days almost. It was like 8 days. Like I've been over here over a week.
Yeah.
Haven't made a dime. I could have been making money at home.
Yeah.
We could have been playing gigs at home and making money.
Yeah.
I have a family at home to take care of. I can't, we can't.
Right.
No. You're going to pay me.
Yeah.
I said, here's the thing. You're going to pay me, and then we're going to leave. We're going to get back in that shuttle thing, and we're going back to the hotel, and then we're going to get up in the morning, and we're going to drive. Somebody's going to pick us up, and they're going to take us back to the airport. We're going to go home.
Yep.
And I'm not playing because this went through, this fell through. It's all been a sham, dude.
Yeah. And
I said, there's plenty of people here. The music festival's doing okay. He was like, yeah, but it's not doing great because everybody we've paid already, and there's a couple big acts, German acts that draw a lot of people and draw a lot of money that require a lot of money, and we can't pay them. And I'm like, well, I don't care if they get paid.
Yeah.
But you're paying me, dude. And he literally opened up the desk and the drawers, and he was like, I have nothing. I don't have any money. Zero. I just looked at Dennis. I was like, okay, I need to go outside because I'm going to hurt him. And Dennis like, go outside. And then the dude got mad. What about, like, hey, you don't talk. And I just turned around. I was like, dude, not right now. Not right now. I'm going to go to prison here.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was bad. So I was like, bring the shuttle, let's go.
Yep.
So we went back to the hotel. And the guy who owned David was his name. Tommy's Diner, but the guy's name's David. Weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was awesome, man. He was such a nice guy. And we told him what was going on, and he was like, I'm getting stiffed on all this. I'm getting stiffed on the hotel rooms. I'm getting stiffed on the phone bill. I'm getting stiffed on the food. Because it was like a bed and breakfast kind of place. Like they had breakfast down in the lobby area.
Oh, okay.
And the woman who was there, she was so awesome. She invited us to her house for a barbecue. Because her dad loved music. And so we go, and he was like a World War guy. Like he was old. He was an old man. It was awesome, dude. And just he was sitting there telling us stories and like, oh my God, how awesome is this? And anyway, so that was cool. Just meeting the people over there was great, and everybody was great over there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stories in that, but that was probably the worst gig ever because we were gone. We were completely thousands and thousands of miles from home, and not getting paid.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I want to go home now. Just put me on a plane. I don't care. And we flew home, and it was so bad. And the guy reached out and was like, "Hey, you guys want to come back next year?" No, dude, what? Shoot yourself in the face. No. Yeah, it was bad. So that was probably the worst gig, though. Just because we had to go out of country to get paid.
It's funny how that works when people don't pay you, and then they expect you to be all buddies afterwards.
Yeah, like, I'm sorry, my bad. Try again next year.
It's funny how that works.
Yeah.
What's going on, Tate?
What's up?
How are you?
Surprise! You're on a podcast.
Yeah, buddy. You are on my podcast.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Good. This is a new segment we do on our podcast every week. I just call random people like, "Hey, surprise, you're on a podcast."
Awesome. I'm glad you gave me a call.
Yes, sir. How you doing, man?
Doing well. Doing real well. Just busy as always. We wrapped up the youth football season here last Sunday in the championship game for my son's team who I coach.
Nice.
And, work and church and all the rest of it. So
oh, nice.
Can't complain.
Hey, all right. Well, I got to introduce you because I didn't do that. I forgot to do that up top. This we're talking to my buddy Mr. Chris Kelsay, former Buffalo Bill. 10 years with the Bills?
10 years with the Bills. Yeah.
Nice, man. Nice. All-American from Nebraska? Good God. I don't know, man. I don't know about it. How the Huskers doing? I haven't even heard.
Yeah, they're struggling. They only have 3 wins this year. We've got a tough one coming in Saturday to Lincoln. We got Ohio State, so I'm sure they'll be geared up for them. But we're just having a tough time this year closing out games and haven't played up to our potential in a lot of areas. But
right,
the Nebraska faithful are still behind our Huskers, so we'll be rooting hard, and hopefully Scott can get those boys going and get another win.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I got to say, listen. I'm a little upset because your Bills beat the Chiefs, but man, I tell you what, they have built a great team up there.
They have, Sean McDermott, who I wish I would have had the opportunity to play for him. He's got a great staff and he's doing things the right way. I think they've got a pretty young group. They've got veterans in where they need them. But him and Brandon Beane, the general manager, they were together down in Carolina and came to Buffalo together, and they're doing everything the right way. They've built it the right way. They've built it the way that they believe in, and it's showing on the field. They've just continued to get better each and every year. And playing in the AFC Championship game last year against the Kansas City Chiefs, I actually went to that game with my wife. Unfortunately, we got beat, but it looks like they could be contending for the AFC Championship again this year too. So hopefully it's a Super Bowl year, but still a lot of football left to play. Don't want to count our chickens before the eggs hatch. To say, but so far so good.
Yeah, absolutely, man. They're doing great. Like I said, they figured it out, man. In the last couple of years, he's definitely figured it out up there, and getting guys that not necessarily huge names in the league. Your quarterback is great, obviously. I think he's going to be around and do really, really well for several more years. I think he's going to have a long career and a great one. He'll be an Aaron Rodgers I think he'll be an Aaron Rodgers kind of guy. When it's all said and done, you know what I mean? He'll be one of those guys.
And that was kind of the missing link for Buffalo for years is they couldn't find that franchise quarterback. And just like you mentioned, I think they got a good one in Josh, and he'll be around for several years and keep good talent around him, play good defense, and they can win a lot of football games.
Absolutely. So let's talk real quick about when you were playing, when you're in the league. Your brother played in the league too.
Yeah, my brother played a year with the Pittsburgh Steelers. spent a little bit of time in St. Louis with the Rams, and then decided to call it a career and come back home and start the next chapter. But yeah, he was a great football player as well.
Yeah, both of you were All-Americans, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. Must be in the genes. Must be in the genes.
Thanks, Mom and Dad.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for that. No, okay. So let's talk about when you were playing. You, who? I know you're going to say New England, but who did you love to play but hated to play?
Well, you nailed it on the head. It's definitely New England, because the dynasty that they were, when I was playing, in fact, quick story, the very first NFL game I ever played in was against New England in Buffalo, and we beat them 31-0. And then week 17, we turned around and played them in Foxborough, and they beat us 31-0, and that would have been their first Super Bowl year. So kind of crazy how a season can change like that. But, you respected the heck out of them. They're a huge rival, I suppose. We thought it was a rival. You kind of got to win a few more games against them than what we did for it to be a true rival. But you always wanted to play against the best. And Tom Brady and Bill Belichick at the time, and for several years, were the best. So
yeah, for sure.
We always got geared up for that one. But a lot of bad taste in our mouth leaving those stadiums after playing. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Now, did it feel kind of good when you just smoked him every once in a while? Just get on him and hit him good? Did it feel, you were just like, yeah, Tom?
Oh, yeah.
Take that.
You remember those. You remember those for sure. But you know what, to be honest with you, I was, prior to him building some of these newer stadiums, since I've retired, I played in every stadium in the NFL at the time. And I always enjoyed going to the old legendary stadiums like Soldier Field and Lambeau Field and Candlestick Park and all those cool places. So I really enjoyed playing against those teams and those stadiums back in the day. So a lot of those memories, obviously, I'll keep with me for the rest of my life.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. That has to be, as a football player or as an athlete, a professional athlete, whether it's basketball, baseball, football, whatever. When you go to, the Soldier Fields, the Wrigley Fields, the Candlesticks, the Ford Fields, all the ones that have been around forever and ever that you watched people play in, growing up. Yep. And now you're standing in the middle of Lambeau Field looking around going, wow. This is it's pretty cool.
The first time, especially, absolutely. When you're young, especially too, just like you said, you grew up watching some of your idols playing these stadiums, and to be in those stadiums, suited up and ready to play a game yourself, it's a little surreal, but a little boy's dream come true, right?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, man, I appreciate you answering your phone, and it's good talking to you, good hearing from you. Hope you're well. Hope the family's good.
Yeah, of course. Anytime. I figured we're going to talk some hunting or something.
Well,
that's usually all we talk about.
Well, I know we can do that. Actually, you know what? We'll just have you on. We'll Zoom you in on, and you'll be one of our guests, and we can talk for hours. It'll be great. So
sounds good.
All right, buddy.
Appreciate it, Tate.
Hey, listen. Take care, and we'll talk to you soon. I got 3 questions before you leave. Got 3 quick questions. So, what is your favorite movie?
My favorite movie, wow, I'm not a huge movie buff, but man, I'm really into, I know it's not a movie, but I'm really into Yellowstone right now. I can't wait for the next season to come out on that one, but I've never really been a huge movie buff.
Right. Okay. All right.
I like it. I like a good movie, but I'll tell you what, my kids are getting a little older now, but there for the longest time, and unless it was animated or cartoon, I wasn't watching much.
All right. Okay. Well, I can give you that. Favorite food? What's your favorite food?
I'm a steak and potato guy.
Steak
I love
and potatoes.
A good steak.
Okay. All right. Well, and favorite ice cream, or you probably don't even eat ice cream. If you see, just look up Chris Kelsay. If you're listening to this, let's look up Chris Kelsay, former NFL guy, and he looks like he's some sort of bodybuilder guy. He's gigantic. Well, you're like 7 foot tall, 350 pounds of solid muscle. It's ridiculous. I don't know. I feel terrible for you. I feel like you got stung by a bee and you're all swole up. So
yeah, I need to find the gym. Again.
Absolutely. All right, man. Well, look, dude, appreciate you for answering the phone, and we'll talk soon. We'll have you on as one of our guests. Take care, and like I said, man, talk soon.
All right, thanks, pal. Have a good night.
Bye-bye. And that was Chris Kelsay. He's awesome, dude. He's a good dude, man. He's a giant.
Seems like it.
If you look up Chris Kelsay, if you look him up on the internet, just American football player. Golly,
yeah,
it's ridiculous. He's a big old dude, man. All right, guys, that's the show for today. It is, good gigs, bad gigs, and everybody's had them.
Yep.
Whether they were in music or just showing up to work and like, Jesus, not today.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this anymore, But all right, listen, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like it, share it.
Absolutely.
A million times. And don't forget to leave us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. And leave us a comment. Leave us a comment and a suggestion, what you want to hear, what you want us to talk about, or if you want us to try to get somebody on the show that we can't get on the show. I don't know. We'll figure it out, right? So, all right, until next time, guys, thanks again. We out.
Ain't this a sweet life?
Hey, guys, thanks for listening. Want to ask a question for a future episode? Well, hit us up on Facebook or Twitter with #SweetLifePodcast. And be sure to give us a 5-star rating and hit that subscribe button. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to stay up to date on the latest news and information for the Sweet Life Podcast. And we'll see you next time.